And there we have it. I mean, it's a very densely packed bit of power there. The only thing we're missing is, like I said, the GPU. What's going on, everyone? Desktops Gaming here. Welcome back to the channel. And today we have a new build because we got a pretty exciting product in. Finally, I got my hands on a 3060. Been wanting to get one of these little cards in for a little bit now, mainly to revive, if you guys have been checking us out over on Instagram at Desktops Gaming, the toaster build in the Nouvolo Steck. You can see this is a part of its frame here. It's a very small form factor system. Like I said, it's kind of designed to go together in multiple pieces. So you have like the outer kind of motherboard tray, the two outer edges, and then it has its doors, and of course the base of the entire unit here. Like I said, I did want to go with a water-cooled edition of it, because the stack does come with this top to it and a radiator mount for a 240 AIO, but the only issue is I don't have one that will fit it currently. It will fit a 240 AIO up top with that expansion piece on it if you get this stack with the expansion top on it. The biggest issue is it only supports it with a, I believe it's a 60 millimeter height, or it's got 60 millimeters in height for the AIO pump, you know, as far as how tall your CPU cooler can be or your AIO pump can be. And I don't have one that's not over that size. So your Corsair units and things like that would fit fine. But like I said, for today, like I said, I'm just gonna be putting the Shuriken 2 on it. It's a low profile cooler, kind of similar to the one in Noctua's low profile coolers. But like I said, we've used this one in the past when we built in this before. We've done a build over in our Instagram already on this a while ago. This case has been out for a little bit now. But like I said, I wanted to revisit it now that we can put a little small discrete GPU in it that fits, because I previously also didn't have a card that would fit in this. My previous 2070 Super and my 3070 are too long to go in it. So now that we have that in, we want to take a look at that and do a build with it today. And also, Nouvolo is coming out with one V2 version of their stack. She did post a pretty neat little prototype of it, making a few changes. The biggest ones I saw, typically with the V1, these worked via magnets. So for the doors here, they had little magnets you would have to clip onto the sides of the doors here, and that's what would hold it onto the edge of the case. They're adding a clip-based system to the prototype of the version 2 of the stack. Then hopefully we'll be able to take a look at that too. Big shout out to Nouvolo for sending the stack over originally, and the board. If you guys want to, I'll try to remember to put it up here where you guys can check that out. We've done a build in their board before too. But mainly a big shout out to them because they were one of the first sponsors for the channel. So I really appreciate the early support from those guys. They make a pretty cool product. You know, they are a little more boutique, smaller run, small form factor cases, but you know, I really love stuff like that. And like I said, again, I appreciate their support early on. All right, so we got this cool 3060 in to go in this guy. What else we put in here? Let's actually dive into the CPU. We're gonna be putting the Ryzen 5 3600 in here. Like I said, didn't want to go anything too crazy since we only have the small air cooler here. So this should be a pretty decent pairing with these two together, I think, for a good, you know, I intend to make this kind of my living room gaming PC. You know, since I have my main desktop one here, this would be something cool I could hook up in the living room, stick under the entertainment center, and kind of use it for an HD PC again, and you know, be able to even game on it now that I have something with better graphics. Because prior I had a little APU in here from Ryzen APU in here before. Let's see, for motherboard, we're gonna use the B450 ITX AC gaming from ASRock. Like I said, it's the only ITX I have on hand. I do plan to upgrade that soon. Not that it's a bad board, it's just a little on the cheaper side. I want to go to like a B550, maybe even get the adapter cable for this to be able to run PCIe Gen 4, even though it's not super needed on graphics cards, but still gonna be doing that today. And another sponsor of the channel, Seasonic. Like I said, they provided me with this power supply a while back. It's a SGX 650, a small form factor SFX unit here to power everything up. And like I said, you guys saw the cooler here, and then it just about covers everything we need to go over. And then for storage, I just have an M.2. Like I said, this the stack kit does come with an SSD mount that can go, I believe it's on the back side of the power supply unit. But I figured just to clean things up a little bit, less wires to run, we'll just go ahead and use a little M.2 SSD since this board does support one. All right, well, that goes over all the parts we're gonna be building today. Let's go and dive into building. You can see basically you have the kind of motherboard tray, central part of the case here. It's like that's where you would mount everything to. and then the sides actually go on afterwards. So this would be your I/O for your motherboard, the GPU, PCIe slots there. It's got the pass-through cable for the power supply, and then you have the kind of front of the case here. Looks like they knocked the button off here. It's got a little cover over the main button to keep it all black. But that's basically the front panel of the case. So you have the little switch in there, it just has the power switch and LED, kind of active LED there. And this would go to the front of the case. All right, so let's go ahead and continue with installation. Got to get some thermal paste on there, and then we'll get the cooler installed, and then we'll maybe throw in some RAM. All right, so we pulled out a RAM kit. Just going to use the Trident Z's here. These are 3600 at 16 gigs, I believe. Yeah, it's a 16 gig kit. So we're going to go and throw these in there, and then, like I said, we'll get the cooler mounted as well. Just needed to grab some paste using Arctic MX5. Another big sponsor of the channel. Thank you, Arctic. All right, so like I said in the intro there, we're using the Scythe Shuriken 2. Like I said, it's a very small form factor cooler. We'll get some close-ups here you guys can see. Very small form factor cooler. Like I said, designed for kind of low profile cooling. You've seen something similar to this to kind of want to knock to his cooler. Should be perfect for the 3600 there. Like I said, probably just run it in PBO. Don't intend on doing any crazy overclocking. And it's only a 65 watt TDP part. So it should be perfect for this guy here. So now we have the cooler mounted here. So it's ready to go. Let's go and throw some RAM, and then we'll work on the power supply. And there we have it. I mean, it's a very densely packed bit of power there. The only thing we're missing is, like I said, the GPU and everything plugged in. But I mean, that's pretty much a computer. Like I said, I don't know, it always blows my mind when I look at like small form factor stuff like this. All right, let's go and get, I believe we got to do the sides and the base now. So let's go and get started on that. All right, so here's what we got so far. As you see, we already got the CPU cooler mounted, RAM mounted. Like I said, have the PCIe extension mounted, already plugged in here. It's got the cool little Nouvolo logo on it. Power supply is in. And like I said, I already have it mounted up. So keeps it in a very small form factor. Power button there at the front, just have that routed. We'll plug that in here in just a little bit. Like I said, next we have to get the base on here. So we'll go ahead and scoop this out of the way. That's the sides and top. But next thing we need to do is get the base in place. So that's the bottom of the case here. Like I said, you do have, the kit does come with some SSD mounting points too. That can mount, I believe it's on the back side of this power supply. So we do have a little bit of filtration down here. This will fit some slim fans towards the bottom of the case. Won't be putting that in today, like I said, because we'll be using the regular side panels. They're set up like this, so they actually already have ventilation in them. Nouvolo does provide, you can get glass ones as well. So if you want to see through the case, you can. I would have gotten that one and used that one today if I had an AO pump for the top here, because we would have put the, like I said, the top of the stack on here that would allow us to run the 240, and then we would have, like I said, I would have used the glass one on this side at least to show off, you know, the RAM and show off the RGB on the pump and everything, but would still obviously stick with, since we have an air card here, definitely want to stick with the mesh for this side, because that's where the GPU actually plugs in, or would plug in this way. All right, so let's go ahead and finish everything up here. Let's get the base on, and we'll keep going from there. We have everything installed now. Just gotta get cables run here in just a sec. So we'll be doing that here in a minute. Like I said, the way it's kind of set up now, I may end up flipping the PSU over. So I'll see as I start to cable manage which is easier to get to here. Did end up flipping the bottom up here to the top. Like I said, I think I just like the look of having the power button up top a little better. So I might play around with it here and see. I'm not going to bore you guys with cable management, but I want to show everything installed here. So I'll take a walk around to the other side. Have the GPU installed. Do have one more peel to do. Get it started here. There we are. But yeah, got the GPU installed on this side. So like I said, I may play around with the orientation of the power supply here. Like, so we'll have to see. Like I said, I have to kind of play around where I want to get cables routing from. Since they're coming out of down here, I might leave it like that. Like I said, I just want to play around with it real quick. So like I said, I won't bore you guys with all the cable management and everything, but that's pretty much it. All of this densely packed into one small little area here. I think it looks pretty cool. All right, so let me do some cable management and I'll come back with you guys here at the end and we'll do some thermal test. There we are, the build is done. Like I said, kind of got it managed to the best of my ability. Went in through the side panels on. Like I said, I'm very interested in the V2 version of this one that'll be coming out through Nouvolo soon. Because this one kind of works via magnets, so we have magnets on all the panels here. They just clip to the side there. So it's not the strongest magnets or mounting system in the world. Like the top works the same way, and then this side will work the same way. Just little magnets that keep it in place. Like I said, when they sent this one out, when I got the glass version of it, so if you're going to use like the glass side panel, which I wouldn't recommend doing on the card side unless you are water cooling this somehow, because you would just choke your fans off here. The glass actually uses these little mounting screws here, like these, kind of like regular thumb screws, and then they have a little slide-in adapter or a slide-in little rubber grommet here to make sure it doesn't screw directly into the glass. I guess you could drill these out if you have one of these and then use this guy to mount them instead. That would work, I suppose. But as it is right now, they're set up for magnets. So that's why I'm excited for the version 2 of the stack here, just because, like I said, you can, from what Nouvolo showed on their Instagram, you can mount via little clips. That's like how their board works. If you guys want to go check that out, we did a build on that one too. So yeah, definitely hyped to see that. But as you can see, I did the somewhat cable management here. Like I said, next thing we got to do is make sure everything works. So we'll plug it in here in a sec. But just have the GPU set up here. Ribbon cable comes over the top there. Pass through for the power supplies there. Like I said, I already have everything else wired up. We'll go and spin it around here, you guys can see. On this side, like I said, power supplies there. Like I said, have everything mounted up here already. Like I said, that just passes over the top there, and just kind of tried to tuck cables in best I could where they would go, out of the way, not too far. Like I said, this is a very small form factor system. Always hard to get beautiful cable management in these, but everything's out of the way. The case closes and works fine, hopefully. Let's actually go ahead and plug it in real quick. We'll leave it open like this, and we'll do a little test boot. And we have fan spinning. It's a good sign. And RAM glowing. Cool. All right, so it looks like everything's kind of getting booted here. So like I said, I'll do some little benchmarks here of how the 3060 performs. Not so much of a benchmark of the performance of the card, I'm sure you guys have seen those, but just how it does in this case, and how cool it stays with these side panels on. Should breathe pretty easily with these on. Like I said, I mean, there is no filter or anything behind these, or anything like that. It's just a punched steel here. So as you can see, there's no mesh or anything there. And then so it'll be on both sides, both this side and the card side is set up the same way. I'm gonna have them close the same way. So we'll see how they do. Because surprisingly, the only filter on this system is actually on the bottom. It actually does have a mesh there at the bottom. All right, well that goes over everything with the build. So let's go ahead and do some thermal testing. All right, let's go and do some quick thermal testing on the system here in the Nouvolo Steck. So we're just going to run, like I said, I believe I have PBO enabled on the Ryzen 5 3600. We have the RTX 3060 in here as well. Let's do a couple different tests. Going to start with more of a worst case scenario. We'll pull up hardware info, and I'll go and do a FurMark and Cinebench run together to see what our worst thermal case would be. Then maybe if Snicken, we'll do 3D Mark after that. So let's go and get all of this open. Like I said, this Ryzen 5 3600 being cooled with that Scythe Shuriken 2. Like I said in the intro, it's a pretty small form factor cooler, kind of similar to some of Noctua's very low profile designs that'll fit pretty well in this case. So we may come back and update this with this AO, depending on how this goes. All right, so we got that pulled up. We'll go and get hardware info pulled up as well. And we'll just stress CPU, GPU same time. Let's see, for GPU, we'll do 2560 by 1440, then we'll do our stress test, then we'll do a run on Cinebench 2. Then we'll get a look at clocks and temperatures. Looks like we're still holding clocks around 3.8 gigahertz all core, which I would say for a small cooler, that's not too bad. It's pushing that little shuriken to its limit here, looks like. I might even try in a sec. We'll pull the front panel off the case just to see if that makes a big difference. It may just be the limit of this cooler, but like I said, I'll pull the front panel off after a few minutes of testing just to see. GPU seems to be doing a little better, sitting around 76C currently. Like I said, with the GPU, it's got access to fresh air from the side panel as well. Like I said, all the panels are on the case currently. All right, might go ahead and pop the panels off here. We're getting pretty close to thermal limit. So go and take each panel off, and might as well take the top off as well. So it's pretty much open chassis now. Let's see if we notice any drop in temperatures. Like that's kind of the issue with small form factor and air coolers like this. While that side panel is very perforated, it sits pretty close to that side panel, making it a little bit harder to get enough room to pull air in. You can see we've already dropped pretty much 10C or more now, just by removing the side panel. Let's see, let's go look at the card. Card dropped down to 68. We had a max of 77 earlier. Like I said, this would be worst case scenario, since obviously not many tasks you would do, especially gaming, where you would tax the GPU and CPU to 100% at the same time. Let's see, well, it looks like with pretty much open chassis, we're looking to hold about 83, 84 C here. So about a 10-degree delta taking the side panel off. Like I said, this would be a little different if I had that AO installed, since it would have access to exhaust heat out of the case more effectively. And like I said, having the fan would definitely help too. All right, let's just get 3D Mark open here, and we'll run Time Spy. And then actually we'll replace the panels on the system. All right, so all of the panels have been replaced. Let's go and do Time Spy. Let's see, we'll do Time Spy regular. Extreme is a little, 4K, a little too much to ask for a 3060, so we'll do a regular. Turning the demo off. So now we have our results of the Time Spy test. Came out with a score of 8103. Let's see, let's go take a look at temperatures real quick. Looks like for GPU, we're averaging around a max of, looks like we got up to 76C or so. It looks like that's the hottest we got throughout the test. This is coming around with the back of the other test we ran. And then CPU averaged around 67. A spike there of around 74. Another one there around 74 during the CPU test. Like I said, averaging in the mid 60s or so. And looks like as far as clock, we did manage to clock around 4 gigahertz or so throughout the course of the test. So I mean, definitely not the coolest, especially considering it's only a Ryzen 5 3600. But keep in mind, it's a very small, low profile cooler. So, your mileage may vary depending on what cooler choice you decide to go with. And like I said, we would definitely see a little more performance out of an AO. That should give you a little better example of what to expect in the Nouvolo Steck. So that about wraps it up on the Nouvolo Steck here, or as I colloquially call it, the toaster build, using the RTX 3060 inside there. So definitely looking forward to using this more in the living room. I kind of have a nice little gaming PC in the living room, play some games with friends when they come over, the girlfriend, things of that nature. Like I said, really happy how it turned out. Thermals are pretty good on this guy. Like I said, never had an issue out of these. Getting pretty good thermals with the way that this case is laid out, having the mesh on the sides there. Thermals do pretty well. I could see them experiencing a little bit of choking down if you had higher performing parts in here, but I think with the 3060, with the Ryzen 5 3600, it's a pretty good combo. And like I said, I definitely look forward to maybe I get another AO, we come back, upgraded this, put the AO top on, and I might even get a higher end CPU to put in it. Not too much with the 3060, but something a little bit bigger. Don't want to end up just bottlenecking one way or the other, which you will in every game. But anyway, I appreciate you guys stopping by and checking out the build. Like I said, I'm glad to have the little baby toaster back. Again, if you guys want to see more shots of this, check out our Instagram over at Desktops Gaming. So we'll be posting some more pictures and close-ups and everything of this guy over there. But like I said, I appreciate you guys stopping by and checking out this video today. Definitely check back for more. Like I said, we are doing a giveaway soon on the Nouvolo Borg. Like I said, I'll leave the card up there in the corner if you guys want to go check that case out. As well as we'll revisit this probably when the Nouvolo comes out, or the Nouvolo comes out with their Steck V2. We'll see how that one compares to the original Steck like this one. Anyway, guys, that about wraps it up. I appreciate you guys stopping by today. Take it easy.